Hey, everybody. Welcome to another EHC podcast at WFNY. This is Jim. Mike Clevinger and I are back talking Indians baseball. You would think that the Indians had just gotten swept by Kansas City after you listened to this podcast for how cranky and crotchety both of us were. I coming off of a 10-hour drive from Raleigh, North Carolina. Mike coming off week one of his hell week of finals. That being said, give it a listen. You'll get a kick out of it. I'm not saying we're wrong, but we definitely were cranky. Please do this, though, first. If you could check out Patreon. If you haven't done it before, please check it out very quickly. This is a way that you can help us out. You can provide us a bit of monetary value so that we can get the best writers, add the best content that you already get for free. So check out Patreon at www.patreon.com/WFNY. And if you have a chance, please rate us a 5-star at iTunes and leave us a comment. That helps us get a boost so that people see it and we can get new listeners. All right, with that being said, here is the banjo. Welcome to another edition of Everyone Hates Cleveland, the podcast. I am your host, Jim Pete, joined by the suave, the debonair, the best husband of the year, Mike Clevinger. Michael, how you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. I've been looking in at the screen for the YouTube file, and I just feel like I look pretty sharp right now. It's sort of like rugged look today. I'm very happy with how I look on this podcast.
You have your 12-day shadow. That looks good. Throwing down some Corona.
It's an honest beer, man. It's an honest beer.
It's a go-to. Someday we're going to have that infamous beer podcast, and I'll tell you what I think of Corona, but not today.
I'm trying to thin down, man. That's why I'm going with the Corona Light.
Corona diet. I like actually that could be something new. The Corona diet. Well, there's our complimentary beer topic of the day. But we've got a gamer to talk about. Yes, our sporadic and every 3-week gamer is happening right now. The Indians win a 1-0 game. It's their 12th one-run game this year. Only their second win. Okay, this is kind of an overarching thing, Mike, and we're going to run another podcast after this and talk more kind of about this. But if I'd have told you that the Indians were going to score 5 runs against the Royals, would you have thought we were going to win 2 of 3?
You want to really know it all in petty answer, or do you want the answer you were going for?
Well, no. I mean, I know we talk about how good the pitching is, and but come on. I mean, okay. We probably should save this for later. But go ahead, give me your real answer, Mike. This is the real EHC podcast. We don't bring any fake stuff here.
I'll just say, yeah. I mean, maybe you don't think they'll win 2 games, but I think it's really important that we have an honest discussion about how freaking garbage this Royals team is, and how empty that lineup is, and devoid of anything competent. Their stars are guys who are all tremendously overvalued. Hosmer is an at best league average hitter, and he plays a position where he should be better than that. Salvador Perez will swing at literally anything that moves. Same goes for Mr. Moustakas, who swung at a pitch about 2.5 feet outside the strike zone today. And those are the anchors of the lineup. The only legit bat to me is Lorenzo Cain. So, I mean, I definitely don't think they would have won it, but I also think that the Royals suck. Good Lord. Well,
so doesn't it then concern you, especially offensively, that the Indians could only put 5 runs on the board? I mean, again, it's early in the year, and I understand that. We've had our ups and downs with different people throughout the year, but when do we get concerned about the run outage from this team? I mean, we clearly struggle against left-handed junk ball pitchers. maybe lefties in general. In today's game, Danny Duffy, who looks like he's going to win a Cy Young Award when he pitches against us, looked really good again. And I'm not this is nothing against Danny Duffy. I actually like him very much. I think he's a half decent pitcher. But, at what point does that become a concern?
I'm not really concerned. I'm just whatever. That's probably hubris. I think one of the concerns, there are a couple of guys that I'm concerned about, but I still think that, this is a team that's 4 games over 500, and Kipnis has looked god-awful, lost in the desert with a packet of lemons. You look at Geyer, who, if it was on a tee, he couldn't hit it right now. You look at Encarnacion, who's actually been hitting the ball really well, and his outcomes just haven't been great. And I think one of the positive things of the last couple of weeks is that, Encarnacion looks like that dude again. We just haven't seen it bear out. I think Adam Burke posted something about how his expected WOBA on contact quality was in the 380s, and it's currently 310 for that stretch. I mean, the outcomes are going to improve for him. And until the last day or two, and the season opening series, Carlos Santana's had some pretty bad start to the season for him. I mean, not for most people, it's better than Eric Hosmer has been his whole career, but for him, Carlos Santana hasn't been that good. You suck, Eric Hosmer. Timeout. If I watch one more broadcast with Rick Manning and these guys talking about being scared of Eric Hosmer, or Tom Hamilton, you don't want Eric Hosmer up. He is the first baseman in the American League I would most like to see up with runners in scoring position of anyone. He is so mediocre. We're not pitching around Eric Hosmer. Don't say, why didn't we walk Eric Hosmer? He's not that good. He kind of sucks. So can we just stop? It's Eric freaking Hosmer. He's going to get 2 years and $20 million, and everybody will be like, oh, wow, we didn't realize how mediocre and crappy he was this offseason. Anyway, I'm not worried. That's what I'm saying.
That was the best. I missed the mic. See, we don't do these repetitively enough. We're not as consistent with these as we used to be. I miss these rants. All right, so not worried about the offense. Let's talk Yan Gomes then. He's looked decent the past 3 weeks. Lots of interesting stats coming about. I mean, he's obviously turned it around a little bit. Obviously, 13 games or 14 games now is not a sample size, but obviously good signs from Yan Gomes. Is this something? I mean, hard contact is up. Is this something that you could see trending for more than just a couple of weeks, Mike?
Yeah, and I think he's just commanding the strike zone like he never has in his entire career. One of the things with Brantley and Gomes right now, and I think we have to talk about Brantley's injury in a bit, but they're succeeding as completely different players than we're used to. I mean, Gomes has basically cut his chase rate on pitches outside the strike zone by 25%. And so, his walk rate's spiking right now, and pitchers are going to adjust, and he's going to get more pitches over the plate. And then we'll see sort of how that counter adjustment goes for Gomes when he gets more strikes. Whether the contact authority continues, whether it improves. I think he's hit the ball a little harder. He's just been his play discipline is just remarkably better, and I think that's awesome. That's a change you rarely see to this level, and he's been phenomenal early discipline-wise, which has covered up the fact that he just didn't hit the ball as hard as he used to. I think in some ways he's selling a little bit of contact authority for plate coverage, especially away. But to me, an 85 WRC plus catcher, or however you want to say it, just a guy who can put up a 680 OPS at catcher, so valuable to the Indians considering what they got from that position last year. The Indians got nothing. Their catcher position put up a 500 OPS last year. I mean, this is a huge upgrade. So I don't mind Gomes creating a higher floor for himself and maybe limiting the ceiling of his power, which, he was known for early in his career.
All right, so I suppose we should get specific about the game. So this actually sounds like a gamer, and I, obviously the story of the day is Mike Clevinger. I wanted to talk offense of the Royals first, which you kind of got into, Mike. Clevinger, kind of, I don't know if this is the right word, and we'll get into Clevinger's performance, but sort of spearheaded this quote unquote one hitter today. The Indians gave up one hit. Bullpen looked great again. But I do want to focus a little bit on Clevinger. The knock coming in, of course, is control around the strike zone. He looked good early, and then kind of reverted back to the Clevinger that we know. And even Michael Bode from WFNY, who's clearly Michael Clevinger's biggest fan, even brought up the fact that this was the perfect offense for Clevinger to face up against. Obviously, you're always happy when you see 5 2/3 and you see a guy not give up, only give up one hit. But he did give up 4 walks, Mike. He threw 91 pitches. I think 50 strikes just off the top. I know it was 50 or maybe 40, but I'm pretty sure it was 50 strikes. I'm obviously still struggling with control. Is this just who Mike Clevinger is? I mean, I saw some very intriguing comparisons to him based on age and where he's at. Of course, I saw the one that made me laugh the most was the Corey Kluber comparison because of age and where they're at the same time. But it seems like whenever Clevinger makes that step from AAA to major leagues, he even a little bit more control he seems to have in AAA seems to go away. I mean, is this if he's pitching against the Cubs? I mean, is this a one hitter?
No. This is the really tough thing. I think, like, in some ways, the Clevinger start was great. The outcome was great. I'm not any more confident in Clevinger going forward than I was 3 months ago in spring training, just because he walked 4 dudes against a lineup that has the 3rd lowest walk rate in Major League Baseball. This is a really free-swinging team that's not patient and doesn't command the strike zone, and he still struggled to command the strike zone. So, in terms of outcomes, he was really lucky today. And, everybody sort of they rush to say, oh, he's pitching one of those Salazar games where he strikes out more guys and yeah, that's great. He's striking out dudes, but he's also walking 4 and 5 2/3, and Salazar is striking out 12, not 6. Okay, there's a difference here. Second thing is his contact profile is just not that good. He gives up too many fly balls. I like Clevinger a lot, but I'm not that encouraged. And I think everybody's ready to say, oh, we can pull Bauer from the rotation. Clevinger's ready to go. And no, Bauer's peripherals are fine. He's going to work his way through. He's frustrating, but he's going to give you 200 innings. People keep acting like Bauer's the concern. Yeah, if you look at outcomes early, you can be nervous about Bauer, but if you think Josh Tomlin's going to throw more than 120 innings any season ever, it's not a good bet. So I don't think we want to do this thing where we force Clevinger into Bauer's spot, and then once Bauer's converted to a middle reliever for a month, then we have to flip him back into the rotation because Tomlin's back to his arm issues. This is just Clevinger's he's not that sharp. His command is not good. I'm going to get reamed for this. This is a really negative podcast for a guy who goes 5 2/3 and doesn't allow any runs. But sometimes you have to look past the box score. And, to me, his stuff is really good. But, until his command gets significantly better, I'm just not that optimistic he's any more than Trevor Bauer.
Well, and I mean,
some version of Trevor Bauer, maybe even not as good as Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, he did go 5 he did go 5 2/3. He did only give up 1 hit. It was against the Royals, who, offensively are not very good. Overall, are not very good. I agree 100% with you. It's not a negative. It's just realistic, and I know that people don't like that nuance. Such as life. Brian Shaw, I don't want to dive too much into the bullpen, Mike, because we've got a full podcast coming up where we'll talk a lot about the bullpen. Brian Shaw, who's had those sketchy moments that I guess he's known for over his entire career where he'll look great and then not look so great. But today he was absolutely dominant, 4 Ks. I think he struck out all the batters he faced. Perfect appearance. Good, obviously, a good sign from Brian Shaw. So I'll of course, as we do, while it should all be positive, I'll do the plus and minus here. He looked great, Mike. I loved seeing him in that inning and a third. Obviously, 4 Ks. Is it already time to get concerned with usage for Shaw, though? He's already leading the team in appearances. I mean, this is a guy who every year is getting used a ton. I mean, that right now he's, I think, leading the league in appearances. I'm not 100% sure on that. I had that written down at one point in the past couple of days to talk about. But, he looked great today. I mean, I don't know. Is he just the guy we just go ahead and just use the hell up and because we got a bunch of other guys there?
If we had a bunch of other guys there, I would agree. But no, I feel like I need to put like some sort of analytical moratorium on myself discussing Brian Shaw because he constantly confounds me. I don't really know what he is. To me, he is just like a league average 7th inning reliever, and that's fine, but like it's okay if I get pissed at him because he's league average and he's got a pretty simple 7th inning job, and he was great today, but he's still walking a ton of dudes. He is never up in counts, and that's not fun to watch, and it's also super risky. It's a risky profile, so I mean, great.
But I guess, the point here is, again, we see the Shaw, Miller, Allen kind of triumvirate. We'll get into the bullpen later, but, Nick Goody is a guy that you've talked about. I mean, Dan Otero seems to, like, where in the hell is Dan Otero? I don't know where he is. Zach McAllister, he's like the guy now that, like, I don't know, he's out in the bullpen wearing funny hats and stuff. I just made that up. He's not really doing that. His bullpen is literally set up to make guys disappear, and in a good way. I mean, is Brian Shaw just going to be the guy until – I mean, he's just the guy, right? Like you say 7th inning guy, and he is the 7th inning guy, but there's sometimes he's the 8th inning guy. There's sometimes he's the 9th inning guy. And again, I guess we're being negative for a guy. I guess this is typical EHC. I guess we're being negative for a guy who looked great today, but I don't know. All the concerns are there. I guess my angst is still there. I mean, he's not losing that spot. I mean, there's positive. I mean, we see Goody a lot, but it's going to take a lot to get Shaw out of that role, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Shaw, I guess, like, he was so good in the playoffs last year that he sort of, like, earned the right to really butcher it before he was forced out, I suppose. So that's fine. I mean, I would point out that, like, he hasn't allowed a home run this year, and that's traditionally been a problem for him the last 2 years, and his walk rate's higher than ever, and we haven't seen him really get punished with a home run recently, so I'm not super optimistic. He's fine. He's just fine.
All right. As we wrap things up, Mike, any takeaways from today's game, offensively, defensively? Santana 3 for 4. We already talked about him looking good. A Geyer got 2 hits today, kind of taking over for Michael Brantley, which is kind of how we probably should wrap things up. Brantley sprains his ankle today. We'll talk a little bit about Brantley overarching in our next podcast, but concerns about the ankle. It just seems to be, we've got this different looking Brantley this year. Power's there, but he's striking out a little bit more than normal. Now I've got this ankle issue. It's
better than the shoulder or the elbow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the other thing is I think it's weird. In baseball, there are a bunch of other injuries that I'm scared of more than the ankle. Like, it's not like the NBA or the NFL where I'm like, oh, an ankle sprain, like his foot speed is really important. Like, athleticism hasn't been a part of Brantley's game in a little bit, especially defensively. So, like, I'm not worried about him being a little slowed in that regard. Yeah, I mean, it's scary, but I want to see Yandy Diaz play more against left-handed pitching. So, if that's what happens. That's what happens.
Yandy Diaz. That's for the next one, though. Oh, boy. All right. Well, the Indians take the series from Kansas City 1-0 today. Very interesting series in which we saw Salazar, Tomlin, and Clevinger win a series in which the Indians only scored 5 runs. All right. On that note, we're going to close up shop here. My goal this month is 8 podcasts. Someone threw down the gauntlet that said that I'll get mocked unless I do 9 podcasts, so now I'm doing 7. That is it. And on that note, we'll close up. Thanks for joining us. We will be back sooner than you think. Peace.
Have a good night, everybody.